This is Red America Radio. Straight up conservative talk for today's red-blooded American. With the host of Ion DC and Ion South Florida's Karen Turk. And Dr. Chris Metzler, political commentator and best-selling author. Making radio great again. Red America Radio.
Hi, and welcome back to another beautiful weekend in South Florida. We're in the studio. We have a super exciting lineup today. I think
yes.
This is Grammy worthy today.
It most certainly is.
It really is. We have Joy Villa, who's going to be coming on the show.
Fabulous Joy Villa.
She is fabulous. And for those of you that are listening that might not be familiar with her name, you will remember her because she was the woman that had the chutzpah to wear the MAGA dress on the red carpet at the Grammys in 2017. And she's a fabulous black woman, and she's a multi-layered personality, and I cannot wait to dig in and learn more about her.
Yeah, and you're really going to enjoy this show because we explore the multiple layers of Joy. Sometimes people just see Joy and they think, oh, she's very pretty, she sings, but the multiple layers, you're going to love it.
I love it. And, you know, my favorite interviews that we do, and we interview a lot of different people on this show, but my favorite interviews are really with these conservative celebrities.
Yes.
Because it's really cool to kind of dig in to why they're a conservative or why they were a Republican and what's made them who they are, especially when you have somebody as dynamic as Joy, who I just cannot wait to figure out.
Yeah, because, you know, in Hollywood, it's not exactly popular to be a conservative at all. So having someone like Joy and having other guests who really talk about the fact that, yes, Virginia, there are conservatives in Hollywood.
There are, and it's kind of, I think it's an under-the-radar kind of thing.
It is.
Because, you know, I have met a lot of celebrities interviewing for my different shows and things, and, you know, they all know what I do. They all know what my passion is. They all know I'm a conservative, and once I start talking to them, a lot of times they'll open up to me, and they'll be like, hey, you know what, I don't talk about it because it's not good for my business, but I'm on the same page as you.
Yeah.
And that's something that I find really interesting. We have all these people, this silent majority that's just kind of like sitting under the surface, and sometimes they're even in the public eye.
Yeah, and that's what makes this show so exciting because we peel back all the layers and we tell it like it is.
We're going to peel it back, and we've gotten a lot of questions online from our audience. So I want to thank everybody who's listening to this show. I thank you so much for the support. We're up to about 3,000 followers on Instagram right now.
Hey.
And what are we on, show 5 or 6?
Yeah.
So
we just started.
We're rocking and rolling. Tell your friends, tune in. We're here every Saturday at 10 o'clock, and we're everywhere online all the time at www.redamericaradio.com. And if you have a question for us or something you want us to cover, you have a question for one of our upcoming guests because we promote the week before, go ahead and shoot us an email at redamericaradio@gmail.com and we'll get right back to you.
Absolutely.
So no better time than the present. Let's get Joy on the phone and get her in the studio.
Oh, yeah. You're going to love this. We'll be right back.
The NFRW, National Federation of Republican Women, brings together conservative women and raises their voices all over America. Join our movement. Get involved in your local federation and follow us on Facebook and Instagram.
Listen up, red-blooded conservatives. Divided we stand. The Search for America's Soul by legal scholar, political analyst, best-selling author, and host of Red America Radio, Dr. Christopher Metzler, is a must-read. Metzler destroys the failed policy of the left on immigration, border security, fake news, racism, swamp politics, and takes on white liberals. A significant statement of politically and economically conservative ideas applying to today's America and that are sure to gain influence in decades to come. Get your copy today at Amazon.com.
Still using lamestream media for news? Stop being a victim to clickbait and visit Populist Wire. They're delivering real news to over 100 million people a year. Visit Populist Wire on Facebook or at populistwire.com.
And we're back.
Hi, good morning, Joy.
Good morning, Karen.
Welcome to our show. I cannot believe that we have you on our show right now. I'm a little bit starstruck, I have to admit. And the
Great
Grammys
to be here.
the Grammys are right around the corner. You have really some exciting things happening right now.
That's right. The Grammys are right around the corner, February 10th, and I'm going to be wearing something fabulous, of course, again.
Ooh,
of course.
Of course. Are you going to give Chris and I any hints?
Oh, no, I have to keep it under wraps.
Totally
Let's
under
make
wraps.
a big impact.
Okay, well, I am going to be,
Oh, yeah.
I will tell you right now that I am going to
I
be
tell you, I've
tuning
been
in.
bribed by my family and friends, by everyone around me for any little bit of hint, and nope, I'm zipping it to the last minute.
All right.
Yeah, and, as you should. And I mean, it's really, thinking back to 2017 and thinking back to your MAGA address and the statement that you made. And then last year, I imagine that it's going to be something over the top. But your MAGA address,
Definitely.
I mean, that's
But
going to...
I use the red carpet to showcase my values. That's something that I started in 2017. And in 2018, last year, I wore my pro-life dress. So it's just something that I like to draw attention, use the attention that I get for what I believe in. And my fans love it. My followers love it. I love supporting the president, being a proud American. I feel like it's something that is not done enough. And being a conservative, we're constantly told we shouldn't say anything. So I like to say it 10 times louder.
We like that over here. We really do. And we say it loud and proud on our show and here in South Florida. And, I was a big supporter of the president and even before he was running. And I knew that he was probably going to run. And I've been on the Trump train ever since. And, I know a lot of other people that, weren't on the Trump train, but, were motivated by seeing people like you in the public eye. And you're kind of an enigma because you have so many layers to you, so many interesting layers that I want to kind of peel apart in the interview. And I don't know how much we're going to get to in the short time that we have, but you really inspire people because you're relatable in so many ways and you're not what people I think of. And there is a stereotype for a typical conservative.
Yes.
And we like to break stereotypes here.
There definitely is. I mean, the stereotype is that we're all, white bread, white, and I mean, there's a lot of white conservatives, there's a lot of black conservatives, there's a lot of Asian, Mexican, Latino. Yeah, I mean, conservative is not a color, right?
Yeah.
There's also the stereotypical thing that we're backwoods or we're racist or that nonsense, which is ridiculous because I have a ton of conservative friends who are in business and finance and the arts and media. I mean, even hidden people in Hollywood have come out to me the last couple of years since we've had President Trump and have told me of their support. And there's also a lot of people who were hardcore liberals who've walked away. And it's like, I was a liberal before. I was I was non-political. I voted for Obama.
You were supporting Bernie at the beginning,
I didn't really know about politics. I just thought, oh, yeah, this is how I'm supposed to think, especially being a woman of color in Hollywood. It wasn't until Trump came on the scene that he just blew that whole thing wide open. He started saying the things we need to hear and what we really wanted to hear and doing the things we needed, like increasing our economy and jobs and saying, hey, listen, let's put our citizens above illegals and common sense values. And that's why I love him, and that's why I'm just so glad. I'm so happy for the next 4 years. We're going to have President Trump, for a full 8 years. I 100% believe that.
I do too, and I tried to interrupt you there quickly just because I know you supported Bernie Sanders, right? Is that true? That originally you were kind of that you supported Bernie Sanders at the beginning of the run?
I did support Bernie Sanders in the beginning. That was when I was still liberal. And a lot of my friends, musicians in the industry, all were on the Bernie train, right? Burning for Bernie. And I thought, well, I guess that's what
feel the burn.
Like.
Feel the burn.
Yeah, feeling the burn, exactly. And I was like, well, I guess that's what my friends like. I guess that's what I should be into. It's kind of was the pressure, was a lot of peer pressure and a lot of the only thing I was exposed to at that time. And I mean, I didn't donate any money or campaign for him, but I did a couple tweets and I told people, oh yeah, Bernie sounds like the guy. Just was clueless about how deep his socialism and his policies would hurt Americans. I like what he said about trade deals. He echoed some of the same things Trump said. Of course, when I dig deeper, I realize I'm empty on this. This is an empty candidate, and this is somebody who's just going to make extreme leftism more popular. And unfortunately, he has. I mean, also, you know, when he went over to support Hillary, it's very clear that all those Democrats are in the same boat. You know, they all want to destroy the country.
Oh, yeah.
They want globalism. They want higher taxes. They want a nanny state. It makes this ridiculous.
It is. And it's so, to me, it's just so interesting to watch now what's going on with Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and some of these other people. Chris is looking at me like kind of laughing because I said to somebody this week, I love these memes. They're providing me with a lot of comedy on social media. But at the same time, there's just an air of such a ridiculousness to it. I think there are a lot of people that are going to walk away from the party. And I've experienced the same thing that you have in Hollywood, where I have a lot of people that kind of come out of the closet to me, I guess is the best way to put it, and say, I'm a conservative too. I'm Jewish and I'm a Jewish woman and I'm a conservative too. And I always find it so surprising that it's not something that a lot of people are proud of. And obviously there is a silent majority or we wouldn't be having this interview right now. But yeah, I think it's going to be very interesting to see what happens in 2020.
Yeah. Well, it's always been something. I mean, growing up, I was raised conservative. My dad was very conservative, and my mom wasn't political. But my dad would get, you know, very angry and yell at the TV
because he was Italian. Because he was Italian. I was married to an Italian at one time. He did exactly the same thing. Yep. My way or the highway. My way or the highway.
That's right. Very opinionated.
Absolutely.
But he taught me a lot of my foundational beliefs. You know, like we shouldn't let the government take advantage of us, and we shouldn't rely on the government so much, and we should be relying on hard work and community and a lot of great things. Taught me about the Constitution. So I grew up, basically was a conservative, but I never identified as that or thought it was cool. I never called myself a Republican. So I became on the surface a liberal. But if you were to ask me what I thought, I would say a lot of conservative values, you know, family first and support our troops. And that's how I was raised. But I didn't know about the titles. But I knew, okay, fine, there's this left and this right. But now, fast forward to 2019, right since 2016, the media has been vicious. It's been crazy. The left is atrocious. I mean, Governor Cuomo of New York just legalized late-term abortions up to 9 months.
I don't even know. I can't even pretend to understand
just
that.
Just like Donald Trump has said, our president, the left is radicalized.
Yeah.
This is extreme.
Well,
I think that's what more people are seeing, and I think why more people are going to wake up, especially young people. This isn't like it used to be. I mean, I'm so young. I'm a millennial, but even in my day, I don't remember it being this crazy.
yeah, and I remember, Joy, you and I talked about that at Politicon when we did the walkthrough in the hallway at Politicon. That was the last time I saw you. Out.
Oh, yeah.
So we had a great time. Yes.
Oh, we did. That was so fun.
Oh, how did I miss this? Is this another party that I wasn't invited to, Chris?
No, we were at Politicon. We did the Women of Politicon, and Joy's fabulous designer walked through with us, and we just kind of took over the hallway at Politicon. So we had a fantastic time there at Politicon. Joy, of course, was looking fabulous, as she always does. And one of the things we were talking about was this whole liberalism piece and how someone she knows was asking her whether she's going to be watching the RGB movie.
Oh, wow.
We had such a great time there.
Oh, that was great.
Yeah, because for us as people of color who are conservatives, it is, as you said earlier, it is simply not what people expect. They will always come up to us.
Exactly. We get the dumbest questions.
Yeah.
And the dumbest comments because it shows they're ignorant.
Right.
You know, I mean, I've never been asked the rudest, weirdest questions by any white conservative.
Correct.
It's always liberals.
Yeah.
And I'm sad to say it's a lot of white liberals who are extremely ignorant.
Yeah.
And they will call me the racial slurs.
Yeah.
Or it's black liberals who are self-hating and trapped in that scene, and they will call me racial slurs. You know, it's just, but it's funny though.
That's
I like to
super
engage them in
interesting.
conversation because there's nothing better than being, I guess you could say, to use a liberal term, white-splained.
Oh, yes.
By a white liberal.
Right.
Right? Who's talking down to you saying, you don't understand your people, you don't know how race is, and you don't get it, and you're trapped, and you're a slave. And I'm like, excuse me, can I say something?
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. I mean, you know, we experience this daily in my new book that's coming out. I have an entire chapter in which I destroy the whole white liberal ideology and all of the pieces that they have going on. It is
right.
It's a joke. It is an absolute joke. So rather than encourage folks to think for themselves, they want to tell. A lot of times they'll say to me, you know, you're black. I'm like, yeah, been black a long time. So,
I've been white forever.
Yeah. Right. And these are and so these are the folks, as you correctly articulated, who are either trapped in that self-hating mentality, or the white liberals who will say, well, let me tell you what's best for you. No, I think I can figure that out myself. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing to me, too, because I get the same thing. I get a lot of, you know, kind of flack from Jewish people, Reform Jewish white people who want to kind of shame me. And I feel like it's a similar thing. It's almost like this self-defeating prophecy. And you say self-hating. I try not to say self-hating Jew, but the truth is that's kind of what it is.
Yeah.
And a lot of these people, again, I don't want to throw Bernie under the bus, but a lot of the people that I know who in the past have not been so nice to me were Bernie supporters. And they just seem to have this kind of self-hating mentality. And, you know, we have that, I think, in being Jewish. I think we kind of have a minority influence there that's very similar to people of color, because we do the same thing. We kind of persecute ourselves. Like, these people should be on my train. They should be happy, you know, for my freedom of speech, and that I'm willing to speak up as, you know, somebody who's a part of their tribe. But instead, I'm sort of ostracized and treated badly for having a differing viewpoint.
Exactly. That's so true, Karen. I mean, that's the thing. We have to appreciate each other's differences.
Right.
And no matter what, we should be celebrating one another. The Women's March should have been a celebration of all women.
100%.
Right? I mean, all these movements, you know, all this stuff that comes out, all these leftist, hard left movements, conveniently leave out conservatives in our entirety.
Yeah.
And we are such a diverse group, and we're so forward thinking. We think differently than one another too. Not all conservatives think the same.
Correct.
Right.
But
and I mean,
they don't want to hear that because it challenges their thinking. They've set up this straw man argument that all conservatives are racist and all of us are X, Y, Z. And when they meet us who are not, which is 99.9% of us, right? I mean, there's racists in every group.
Of
but
course.
Most of us are not, obviously. But it destroys their argument, and they can't cope with that.
No, and it's so interesting because as a conservative woman, and, you know, and again, being a fan of yours, and kind of like I started at the beginning of this interview saying to you how multi-layered you are, I look at you and I think I want to learn more. I want to know why she has this differing viewpoint and what's led to that and what's the backstory. I mean, that's probably why we love doing this show and love digging into kind of the personal side of politics. But one of the things that's come up again and again, which I definitely wanted to ask you about, is the Scientology tie-in. And the fact that, you know, everybody, when I put up that we were going to be doing this and pre-promoting the show, all the questions I got were ask her about her religion, ask her about Scientology. And I think it's something that, again, people make assumptions, they make stereotypes based on hearing that. And we have freedom of religion in this country, and you can choose to, practice however you want. I would love to know a little bit about that. Could you share?
Yeah, well, just like you said, we have freedom of religion, which I love. I mean, I've been a Scientologist for 8 years. I absolutely love it. It saved my life. I mean, I was involved in a lot of drugs and alcohol and party scene here in Hollywood, and I found a community that is just beautiful and wonderful and mostly conservative, by the way, despite what the media says, mainly conservative and family-loving. You can find out a lot of what Scientology is at Scientology.tv. We just launched a TV station, and it explains what our religion teaches, but it's a spiritual religion based on bettering yourself and things you do. You learn communication. You learn how to work through your issues with others, how to work through your finances, how to be a better person, how to be a better Christian or a better whatever your religion is. I mean, it's a spiritual practice composed of many faith-based religions as well.
See, I didn't know that.
I didn't know that at all.
It just
I didn't know that at all.
How to be better.
Right. That's amazing because, it has gotten a lot of negative press, and I don't know what drove it there. Do you, Chris? What do you think drove it there?
No, I think it is the stereotypes. It is the, not understanding what it's all about, but being quick to jump to judgment. And, as we know in the press and the media, I mean, first of all, we no longer have press and media. What we have are advocates for, and it's absolutely, ridiculous. And so that's a major part of the problem. Press and media, journalism is dead. What we have is a cult of personality. And that's the direction in which we're moving.
I like that. A cult of personality. Wasn't that a good 80s song?
Yes, it was.
Who sang that?
I don't
Joy,
remember.
do you know? Being in the music business, cult of personality. Who was that? I don't remember.
Yeah. I don't remember. I don't remember. Because, I mean, we look at the media and we look at what just happened with the Covington kids, where they immediately place them on television as being racist, blah, 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 blah. And they never. So then, when the full story comes out, they go, it's complicated. No, it's not complicated at all.
It's not complicated. They made a huge mistake by blaming a couple kids in MAGA hats,
right?
Instead of and jumping to conclusions. If it had been reversed, if those had been Native American kids, and it had been one guy in a MAGA hat who was white, who banged a drum in their face.
Right.
Oh,
we know what the story would have been.
Exactly. And with them,
shows their prejudice and their racism.
I just don't understand how we jump the gun so quickly. And when I say we, I mean as all Americans go, just the media. I mean, I just feel like it was just immediately rushed to judgment, and they just judged these kids. And obviously there was more to the story. And I don't want to be biased to the left in saying that, because I think sometimes we all jump the gun when we see something and it looks a certain way. But, I mean, we have to be more careful, and the media has to be more careful than just shoot our mouths off right away. And I'm guilty of that myself. I have to remember to keep my mouth shut from time to time.
Yeah. I think we do.
I agree. We need to actually think before we speak. I mean, with media, everybody's a media pundit these days.
Yeah.
Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and Snapchat.
Right.
It's like you can say what you think about a story right off the bat. And if you have a blue check mark, which I do, and I have to be cautious of, what you say can become the news and can become the story. And your opinion, your judgments, especially we see, Chris Evans, right, who's Captain America, was one of the first celebrities to criticize these MAGA kids and be like, oh, somebody should teach them a lesson. I think he inferred someone should punch him in the face, or a couple people jumped on that train. And then people just follow that.
Right.
There's millions of followers, and they just go, oh, yeah. And then the media is so hungry for that instant news.
Right.
And we've lost correct news, the right news. Let's look at factual news,
right,
which should be synonymous with the news instead of tabloid. Now it's all tabloid. You have to read between the lines to find any hint of truth. When before it was those Elvis is an alien and he's come back from the dead were the tabloid magazines everyone laughed at.
Right.
Now the major press is the tabloid. It's crazy.
Well, and that's the thing. And so this conversation now about the fact that the MAGA hat is the new hood, that is the most ridiculous thing that I've ever heard. But again, we're going to this cult of personality. We're going to the fact where people want to just jump to conclusions because it suits their conclusions. We don't have media anymore. I mean, and since there's such corporate ownership of media, it's about ratings, it's about drama, it's about street fighting. That's pretty much what we're seeing.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. And I really think that we're going to see a shift. I'm optimistic that we're going to see a shift from all of this because there's so much negativity going out there. And I say all the time on this show that politics is the reality show of today.
Yes.
It's the reality show that America is watching.
Yes.
And at some point, it's not going to be taken seriously anymore. Mm-hmm. And it's a little scary, but I think things will shift. And I hope we have a more responsible media come out of it.
Absolutely.
Joy, it has been so good catching up with you. And
you too.
There's so much we could talk about. I think we're going to have to do another segment.
I think so.
I think we're going to need to do that.
I'll be back anytime you need me. It's been wonderful speaking with both of you.
That's
great
amazing.
Conversation.
And where can
I love America.
Where can our listeners catch you? What's the best way to follow you for those of you that aren't doing it already?
Follow me is to go to my website, joyvilla.com. I've got my music there. Some new music I released, and my MAGA song. You can check out my music videos and everything at youtube.com/Miss MISS Joy Villa. I'm on Facebook at Joy Villa Music, Twitter at Joy_Villa, and Instagram at Joy Villa.
We can find you here, there, and everywhere. We're going to find you.
That's right.
Awesome. Great talking with you.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks so much. Have a great day. Bye.
You've been listening to
Red America Radio.
Straight Up
Conservative Talk
for today's Red America.